Gotta aim for the top like, hold up, yeah. I can never doubt myself, I know better. All of you critics be acting like you know better. Blowing the smoke, but I know when the dust settles that I'm in my element, it's evident that there's levels to the game. All of those dark nights I got then, breaking my back to make it out, got me feeling like rain. I ain't never need your help, I know you wishing me well. A penny for your thoughts, but seeing no change. I snap for the sun like Diddy, the riches got a mad ass son, I'm like Billy. I ain't never switch up, whole team with me, putting on for my city like OAGZ. Set the pace as long as you finish, consumers find a way inside your business. Babble if they try to dabble in it and they hate the fact that they may have to witness. You try to aim for the top like this and you're in your element with a fire like this, and they hoping you fall and they praying you miss, but it's all in the risk. I got you with the switch, you know. I'm in the zone, give me the throne. One shot, that's all that you got. That's all that I know. Foot on the gas, 155 on the road. You could be a friend of me, an enemy, keep that same old energy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Printing Money Podcast. I am joined by my buddy Big Al. What's up, Big Al?
What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? How you feeling?
Dude, did we have a Sunday last week? That was awesome.
Yep, Niners all day.
Bang, bang.
Niner gang.
Oh, man. 4 for 4 on the lock it in. We had all the leans. We went 6 for 6 in straight bets. We literally lost one teaser in the entire day, and it was the Buffalo Bills collapse in Jacksonville, which really wasn't that shocking. I mean, I remember we were talking about it's like it's a London game. I just hate London games. You're going to hear me say it again today. I hate London games.
Yeah, I do. But it's on the West Coast, because waiting at 6:30 in the morning, man, I'm tired. Like, I am tired. Like, when I was in the East Coast, I didn't mind 9:30 in the morning. That was fine. I woke up at 8:30, perfect, went to the hotel, watched the game, and it was great.
Yeah, I had my alarm set to wake up and watch that Bills game, and I'm literally like, I woke up for this shit. This is what I woke up for.
There's always opportunities for live wagering in those situations. And, like, when Bills are down big, you need to build a plus 7.5, 10.5 at one point. That's up and jump on.
Yeah, you got to – every now and then you got to buy your way out of a line. So
yeah, especially when you're always betting on a team that has the ability to score points. Josh Allen can score. They have offensive power. So when you see them down big, okay, you know what? They're down big right now. They're just running bad. But they have the ability to come back. They have that ability. So if you get them on a plus double-digit point spread, dude, jump on it. How many times – remember that key game in the Houston Texans and the Chiefs game, the playoffs? The Texans were up 24-0 against the Chiefs. Yeah. Mahomes was looking like plus 16.5. I was like, all day long, there's no way Mahomes at home is going to lose to the Texans by that many points. He will find a way to come back, and they end up winning the game. I mean, it's magically money line. I don't know what the money line was, but I can only imagine the money line was probably like plus 800 or something at that point. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, the problem right now for the Bills is going to be they have so many defensive injuries that what you just said is going to be a thing. I think they're going to be down a lot. I mean, maybe not this week to the Giants, but in general, against real NFL football teams, after we get out of this, this Giants team is just historically bad.
Oh my God, they're bad.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that we're such a bad team, and I feel like this week against the Bills, like I think we're looking at a lot of money to be put on the Bills. So there's no Bills are at home. It's Sunday Night Football. There's no way the Giants are so bad. Everyone's going to say Bills are going to crush them, but watch out for a letdown spot on the spread. I mean, 14 points as an NFL team is a lot. I know we say they should do it, but there's moments like this where, especially when they're playing a team that's banged up as badly on our defense. I mean, they lost Milano, Tre'Davious White for the year. Yeah, they just signed Josh Norman, but Josh Norman is not.
Yeah, come on. There's a reason Josh Norman was sitting at home on his couch. We'll talk about that game in detail in a little bit, but I got to tell you, I'm not laying 14, and I'm never betting my money on the Giants. So I think it's a Sunday Night Football game that I'm just not betting. It just seems bad. Like, they've basically made the spread untouchable, and I get it. We laid 11.5 last week with the Dolphins. And I'm going to lay 13.5 this week with the Dolphins, but the Dolphins' offense is a little different than the Bills. And the Dolphins aren't nearly as banged up on defense right now as the Bills are. I trust the Dolphins to throttle teams. I don't trust Josh Allen to do that right now. So
yeah, I agree.
Anyways, let's start with Thursday night football in a spot that historically I just hate. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs at home in Arrowhead hosting the Denver Broncos. The line is -10.5. Ugh. Mahomes in his career only covers a spread of over 10, like 32% of the time.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But Mahomes is at home against one of the worst defenses in the league right now. Mahomes, I feel, is going to have a huge game, at least based on what I'm looking at on paper. He should have a huge game. Same for Pacheco. I think Pacheco scores this. I think for me, I think this kind of a game is a game I want to bet props. I would love to bet over on Pacheco's rushing yards. Anytime touchdown Pacheco. I like over 2.5 touchdowns by Mahomes. I mean, I like props in this kind of game. I feel like it's going to be a big scoring game. Broncos can score too. So if Nick Bolton is out for the Chiefs again, which I think looking like he is, he did practice today, gives Russell Wilson an opportunity to go down the middle more. We'll have those with pass rush. So, and Jonathan Williams practicing at full 2, so he'll have his full 2 running backs ready to go. So it could be a shootout in this game. I think the over would definitely is a good play to look at, but also like a lot of props.
So I've got the over at 47.5 right now, which is really weird because it opened at 51.
Yeah,
that's
weird.
A huge drop. So I'll tell you what I like in this game. I like teasers everywhere. Whenever you've got a spread that's this big, you basically can just tease your way through both sides most of the time. Denver up to 16.5. It's a spread that's a division game. It really shouldn't get covered. The over down to 41.5. I mean, these offenses both line up the scoreboard pretty much every week. And KC down to 4.5 in a game that just Denver can virtually never win. So I'm probably taking all 3 of those spread out on some different bets. But yeah, the fact of the matter is 81% of the money is on Kansas City right now and 80% of the bets, which means this is not just Joe's. The pros love Kansas City here, and I don't know why, because every historical trend in the world tells you that Mahomes doesn't cover this number. He just doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think this, like you said, is a teaser kind of game. I would probably tease. I would go both ways. I like the over a lot. I really think 41.5 on a tease, 42 points is very doable on both these teams.
Yeah, I mean, Denver, how many times this year has been down multiple touchdowns going into halftime? Like, yeah, I mean, it is just not hard to score points against the Denver Broncos. This is a historically bad defense. And I know that Sean Payton has gotten knocked on before for not coaching defense, but like at this point, we're not even trying to coach a defense.
Yeah, no, I think the play in this game, other than the over, is look at the first half and first quarter bets on the Chiefs. I believe the Chiefs are -7 in the first half. First quarter's not out yet, of course, but
sure.
It's probably be around.
It'll probably be 3.5, 4.
Yeah, I would do the Chiefs -7. First half. I think that's a good play. But I'll also in time to watch the game live. If the Broncos come out and score first at the beginning, let's say the Broncos have the ball first and they score first, you're going to get a good line on Chiefs first quarter. Definitely,
you're going to get a good line on the Chiefs for the entire game.
Yeah, so jump on that right away because I always like when a heavy dog scores first because then you'll get a really juicy line on the home team to come back and win. Especially when they have a team like has Mahomes, a team that can always come back from any deficit. So
and Denver getting out to a lead would not be that shocking. Their offense really isn't the problem. Russell Wilson's ranked the 5th best quarterback in the NFL right now in terms of stats. He's not the issue. The issue is they just don't play defense at all.
Yeah. I mean, trading Bradley Chubb and then obviously losing Von Miller a couple years ago, and just Patrick Surtain is not the corner that everyone thought he'd be. So it's been definitely not the right defense that you expect of the Broncos. So,
and shockingly, last year when they had Nathaniel Hackett, they had much of the same personnel, but they didn't have this problem. And I got to be honest, I didn't think much of Hack job as an offense coach for sure, but he had the defense coached up. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that a coach makes this much of a difference, but they were the 12th ranked defense in football last year with almost the same exact personnel.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've got the London game. Oh, joy, London. I love you, London. We've got the Tennessee Titans and Mike Vrabel as a home dog, because they're technically the home team, plus 4.5 against Baltimore. You can find it right now. Most places 4, but I do see a public book that is 4.5 right now still.
Yeah, most of my books are at 4.
I got to be honest. I want the Titans. I want Vrabel in this matchup. I don't trust London games. I'm tired of betting them. I'm just avoiding.
I'm just not big on Ryan Tannehill.
It feels like an easy tease to 10.5. The Ravens' offense is really, really bad at throwing the football. The Titans are really good at defending the run. It feels like a very easy tease, but I'm telling you, London and me are not getting along. It's not going well. If I just avoided London, I'd have like 8 more units in my account right now. I'm just done with London. I'm done with waking up at 6:30 in the morning. I'm just over it. How about the ATL? Another trip to the ATL. I feel like we go there a lot this year, where the Atlanta Falcons are 2.5-point favorites over the Washington Commanders, who have had 10 days to stew on that horrific loss to the Bears.
Yeah, Sam Howell is not a good quarterback. I don't know why people think he's a good quarterback. It just amazes me. He had some moments that last year, like, okay, he has potential. This year, just like I know he played okay against the Eagles, and they almost won that game, but they didn't. They didn't win the game. He had a chance to win the game, but he didn't. So I just don't. I'm not a big Sam Howell fan. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. He's a good backup, but not a starting quarterback. And when it comes to Desmond Ridder, I know he's not the greatest either, but I have to give the edge of the home team here, and I think Atlanta does cover 3 points in this game. So I would go Atlanta minus 2.5. That's my play on this game as well. I just don't think Washington wins this game, and then the key number 3 is all they need is a field goal to win this game. I think Atlanta easily covers this game by 3 at home.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. My number one play in this game is just tease Washington 8.5. Atlanta doesn't win by more than 1 score often. They're not the Bears, even in terms of they don't have a passing game that can put a lot of points up quick. They're going to grind you out, run the ball 30, 35 times a game. That's what they want to do. And it leads to them either getting blown out because they get too far behind, like they did against Detroit, and they can't run game scripts, or a close game no matter what. I mean, look at the game last week with the Texans, where if CJ could have just put some touchdowns in the end zone instead of field goals, Atlanta loses by 10. But instead, Atlanta ends up kicking a field goal to win the game on the very last drive. They do just enough to win. They keep it close. They grind it out. That's the kind of team they want to be. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them grinding out wins, and they may grind out this win. But I'm more confident that they just don't win by more than a touchdown pretty much all season. Over under 42.5.
That's just too much of. I just don't know this game. This game could either go under or go over. I just don't know. It depends, what opposition shows up.
It feels very much like the Packers-Raiders game that we had last night, where I like the under, you like the over. It could have went either way. Quite frankly, there were so many mistakes in that game. Hadn't have ended at 50, we wouldn't have been shocked. So.
Yeah, I should have teased the under like an idiot.
Yeah, you don't like betting unders, I know.
Yeah, that's hard. It's hard because I just feel like the Packers had a better offense, but apparently Jordan Love was not who I thought he was.
We'll get to that later too, as well.
Yeah.
Chicago in a line that opened Minnesota minus 3.5 in Soldier Field. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, the Vikings. I'm not understanding. The line is currently at minus 2.5. For the Vikings, which I guess makes a little more sense. I already bet this on Sunday night. I just locked it in Chicago plus 3. To me, it wasn't really that difficult. I saw the JJ injury live on Sunday. It did not look good. I didn't have to wait for him to rule him out. Kirk struggled enough having to go-to guy. So, yeah, I'm not taking Kirk Cousins on the road as a favorite pretty much ever with this football team. How do you feel?
I agree. I like the Bears a lot, and Justin Fields coming to his the Justin Fields we expected to see, last season. And the last 2 games, he has, I believe, 7 touchdowns, no picks, I believe. So he's looking to come out of that hole he started in, the run. So I really like Justin Fields a lot. Vikings losing JJ is a huge loss to your offensive weapon. I know you have Addison. I know you have KJ Osborne, but they are not Justin Jefferson. And I just feel the Bears being at home and getting points on their end. First of all, I think the Bears win the game outright. So if anything, if you want it, right now the line's at 2.5. You might as well bet the Bears money line. The 2.5 points. I just don't see the Bears losing this game. So take the Bears money line plus 120. That's my lock for the week.
Yeah, I took Chicago plus 3. key number of 3, I'll take it just in case something goes wrong. I'm also going to sprinkle less on the money line for sure. I still believe everything I said last week. It's not like I'm overreacting to the Bears going out and crushing the Commanders. I really don't care. They have a historically bad defense. They do. I just don't think that Kirk Cousins and the Vikings can take advantage of it. Not without JJ. And you say that those guys aren't JJ. No one's JJ. He's the best receiver in the league by a pretty wide margin. And when you've got, the guy they're going to have take his place is KJ Osborne. I just checked this morning. He was available in all 7 of my fantasy leagues.
Yep.
So your number 1 receiver's not even picked in the top 35 receivers of the NFL right now. And you're a favorite.
He will be number 1 waiver wire pickup, though.
Oh, of course he's number 1 waiver wire pickup this week. And that makes sense because the Bears have a historically bad defense. And he may even have a great game. But on 3rd and 12, when they need him to go up and get a ball in double coverage like JJ would every time, it's not happening.
True.
And Kirk needs that safety blanket. He's very good with that safety blanket. And I'm not blaming Kirk Cousins for all the Vikings' problems. I happen to like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a very decent quarterback. They have a really bad defense. And the real reason that I like the Bears in this game is the Minnesota Vikings lead the NFL in blitz percentage. Yet they have half the league's average in sacks.
Wow, terrible.
On plays where the Vikings blitz, the QBR of opposing quarterbacks is over 90 because the back end can't hold up. And you're going to blitz arguably the best running quarterback in the NFL, who's now allowed to run by his coaches ever since he got mad in week 3. And suddenly, once Jefferson's allowed to leave the pocket, which he wasn't allowed to do, remember the first 2 weeks of the season, they wouldn't let him leave the pocket. Suddenly, now he's allowed to leave the pocket. He creates a little bit with his legs, gives some time to guys like DJ Moore to get open on the back end. They put up 40.
Yep.
So if they're going to continue to run this scheme where the Vikings blitz every single week but never actually get home, then I'm betting everyone that plays the Vikings, and they shouldn't be a favorite against anyone.
Yeah, I think the Bears is a great play this week, and I would definitely, if you're going to do a tease in this game, tease the Bears 8.5 to the over 38.5. I think this both teams score.
So I have all 3 of those bets. I have Chicago +3. I have Chicago +9 because I got it on Sunday night, and then I already hit the over.
So. Yeah. Do you have over straight, or do you have it on a tease only?
No, I have it on a tease right now. I'm probably going to go Bears money line sprinkle and over money line sprinkle parlay. Because I just think that both defenses are pretty bad.
Yeah, I agree.
But I like this spot a lot. I like Chicago here quite a bit, actually. And I'm not I don't really understand the line. I think this should be Chicago -2.5.
I agree.
I don't understand this line at all. I really don't get it.
I think we see line movement by end of the week. I think you'll see either line move to a -1 or a pick 'em. I think a lot of money's going to come on the Bears eventually this week.
All the money's flowing on Minnesota right now. 59% of the money and 64% of the bets.
I think a lot of people are expecting the Vikings to win this game because they have the Niners next week. And, the Vikings have no chance for the Niners next week. So if the Vikings lose this game and they're going to lose next week, they're going to be 1-6. I believe, is that right? 1-6? Or 1-4 now?
But the fact of the matter is that the Vikings are currently 1-4. Okay. And when teams are 1-4, they only make the playoffs 7% of the times, anyways. The fact is, they're not making the playoffs. You can keep betting them like you wanted to last year, but this team is not making the playoffs. Playoffs? No, they're not. They're not winning. Come on. They had 11 wins last year in 1-score games. They have 4 losses this year in 1-score games. So all I see is that they're regressing back to the team they actually were last year, which was overrated, and that's why they lost to the Giants in the first round of the playoffs.
The thing with the Vikings, though, if I look at it correctly, they have a very, very easy schedule after the Niner game. After the Niners, they have they play the Packers, the Falcons, the Saints, the Broncos, the Bears again. Then they're on the bye. Then they got the Raiders, Bengals, Detroit, and Packers again. So
it's not the easiest schedule in the world.
Easiest schedule, but it's a schedule that they can win some games to keep themselves playoff chances alive.
If JJ was playing in this game, I would not have bet the Bears. I think that JJ is worth at least 1.5 to this offense.
Yeah.
So, I heard some people talking earlier. Obviously I listen to, other podcasts and professionals, and I've got my own, friends and people I talk to whenever I'm on the fence about things, kind of get their opinion on stuff. And I had multiple people tell me earlier, I don't know how you can account for JJ's worth in this offense, like how many points that's worth. And I'm like, well, the fact of the matter is it's certainly worth something, right? So, yeah, I don't know what you want to count it as, but let's think in terms of wins over replacement, which is, mainly used as a baseball stat these days, but it's like it accounts for something.
Yeah.
And if JJ gives you 3 third down catches on 3rd and long that KJ Osborne can't, how many points is that off the board? Enough for Chicago to win this game, I can tell you that.
True.
Let's go to another tough one, Al, because, it's tough to me at least. The Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Seattle Seahawks in a game that opened at 2.5. You can still find 2.5 from what I can see. And the game is otherwise at -3, Cincinnati.
Well, the question to ask yourself is Joe Burrow back? We saw Joe Burrow become Joe Burrow last week. So now we ask ourselves, is Burrow back? If he's back, Seattle could be into a dogfight game here.
So
Seattle,
I said it to you guys in the chat last week in our fantasy group. I said Joey B's back, baby. And that was, 5 days after my insane take on how we should be benching Joe Burrow if this is the version of him that we're going to get. But he finally looked like Joe Burrow, right? He scrambled for a 12-yard gain in that game. He was getting out of the pocket in 3 to 4 seconds to still be stuck there. He was on the move. He was on the run, rolling to his right for a 63-yard touchdown, Jamar Chase, that was absolutely on a rope. And none of that could he have done the first 4 games of the season. I mean, when you saw him play Tennessee, he stood in the pocket like a statue waiting to get hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked so uncomfortable in that game against Tennessee. He looked so uncomfortable week 1 against the Browns. And I get it. It's the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't want to put a bunch of stock into the fact the Bengals finally played a complete game and won because it's the Cardinals. But that's not what I'm putting stock in. I'm putting stock in that the eye test told me Burrow's calf is better.
This is a game that the Bengals should win and should cover, but I don't think they cover by more than a touchdown. So my play in this game is I already have it in. I did it last week. I took Seattle. At the time, it was 2.5. I took them plus 8.5 on the tees. So I did like Seattle with the touchdown cover. I still like them at 8.5 or at 9. Of course, at 9 now. So I think Bengals win this game. They win this game by less than a touchdown.
I don't disagree. I've got Cincinnati locked in this week at -2.5. I just think it's a home game. It's a 10 a.m. East Coast game, which is always bad for the team that flies from the West. It's a huge hangover spot. I get Seattle had a bye week, and I get they looked all-world against the Giants. First of all, everyone looks all-world against the Giants. Okay, they have now led in the NFL this season, 3 minutes of 5 games or something they've had the lead. I mean, everyone looks all-world against the Giants. So if you think the Seattle Seahawks are good enough to get 11 sacks in a football game against anybody else, let me know. But the fact is they played the worst offensive line in the history of the NFL. Not a single person on the Giants is ranked above 60 as an offensive lineman. 6-0. When they did the Pro Football Power Rankings for that game, and they rolled it out, it was like 62, 63, 69, 71, and some unranked guy because he was in because the other guy was hurt. And then they just ran out there, and Daniel Jones just holds the ball for 6 seconds of play and just eats it over and over again. I mean, Brian Daboll can yell at Daniel Jones all he wants. Someone has to block for this kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really bad. I don't really think Seattle's defense is that good. I remember when Seattle's defense got torched by Matthew Stafford with 3 receivers that we didn't even know who they were at the time, and they gave up over 30 points. They played a really bad second half.
Yeah.
They might have beaten Detroit, and that's fine. There were some injuries in that game, Amon-Ra, etc. But Detroit still scored a ton of points. The Panthers and Red Rifle went to Seattle and still scored a lot of points.
Yeah, they scored like 26, 27.
So I just think if Joe Burrow's right, the fact of the matter is this is the best quarterback they've faced all season.
Sounds like the play to make based on what you're saying is over 45.
Yeah, and the Bengals defense has not been good all year. They've been getting gashed by all kinds of stuff, and even last week they gave up 6.5 yards a carry to the Arizona Cardinals, despite being ahead the entire game.
Yeah, they did.
And Seattle can run the football, so I'm not super confident in the fact that this game can't be won by Seattle, but I'm super confident that I don't think the Seattle Seahawks are that good of a team. I certainly don't think they're as good as they were the last time we saw them. I'm super confident in the historical data of what happens when a West Coast team flies East Coast for an early game. And I think Joey B found some confidence last week. I think Jamar Chase found a ton of confidence last week just carrying that football team on his back. Going home in a must-win game for them to get back in the race for this division, if you're going to give me less than a field goal with the team that clearly has more talent, I'm just going to take it.
One of my books have a Bengals -3. Another book has it at -2.5. So I think I'm going to.
I don't really like it at 3, honestly. At 3, I think I like a Seahawks tease to 9. If you can't find the 2.5, but I like the 2.5 a whole heck of a lot. Lock it in, and remember, we were undefeated in lock it ins last week.
Yep, 2.5. I like Bengals on 2.5 and I like the over 45.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and I can tell you. Let's see here. We've got right now 75% of the money, 53% of the bets, like the Seahawks. So. It's okay. I like being on the other side of what everyone thinks is going to happen in football games. Normally it turns out well. That's why I bet the Steelers last week. How'd that turn out for you, Al?
Yeah, that was bad. Not good.
Lamar, man, he always manages to disappoint, doesn't he?
I just don't understand it. Like, he's supposed to be an all-pro quarterback and stud, and
they also have to give the man someone who can catch the ball before I tell you that Lamar is terrible.
I mean, even going to OBJ, isn't that OBJ? He was the Rams.
No, he's a very injured veteran receiver who I like a lot, but he's not the guy. You're not going to be able to use him like he's the guy.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Well, let's move on to what I got to be honest. This game scares me to death. An early game on the East Coast in a huge letdown spot for the all-world number 1 power-ranked San Francisco 49ers traveling to Cleveland off a bye week. Niners -5.5. Huge letdown spot after that huge win over Dallas. How do you feel about this? I've gotten it 5.5 everywhere right now.
Yeah, my book has it off because the Deshaun Watson injury has not been announced yet. So one book has it off, another book has it at 6.
So I've got it 5.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5 at 7 books right now. Yeah. 7 very public books. So
this is a game that I know we talked brief about it the other night, and I just feel like this can be a game that Niners can somehow let down. And
yeah, I agree with you. I think that the 49ers are primed for a letdown here. And have you seen the Niners schedule for 2023?
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you that haven't, the Niners travel to the Browns this Sunday at 10 a.m. Okay. Then they play the Vikings in Minnesota on Monday Night Football, a game they're absolutely not losing. Then they play the Bengals in San Jose, a game they're probably not losing. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars on the 12th after a bye week. They play the Buccaneers, and we get them at home. They play the Seahawks in Seattle. They play the Eagles in Lincoln Financial Field, which could be a loss. They play the Seahawks at home. They play the Cardinals in Arizona. They play the Ravens at home. They play the Commanders, and they play the Rams at home.
If the Niners are fully healthy by the time Philadelphia game comes around, that is going to be a revenge game. Brock Purdy is going to come out there and fight up that Eagles defense and say, fuck you for my Super Bowl chances. And Brock Purdy's going to annihilate the fucking Eagles.
I agree, but I think the point I'm making is, so if they don't lose to the Browns, do we actually think they're undefeated this year?
Very possible.
You saw me just read their schedule. Who else are they losing to?
The only challenging game they have is in Jacksonville, because that could be also a game where they travel from West Coast to East Coast. That could be a challenging game too. So Jacksonville and Duval, man. I know they're the Jaguars, man, but they're in Duval. Oof, they are a tough team to play against, man. I know that Jacksonville crowd is pretty brutal to have. So
Yeah.
it's never a lock to win that game in Jacksonville when you're on the road, especially on West Coast, even on East Coast. So
I mean, I had the Niners over 12.5 wins this year. I bet that. I have them going 13-3. But when I made that bet, the Browns were a team I thought would win this game.
mm-hmm.
This was the letdown spot for the Niners to me the entire time. It's been the letdown spot for me for the Niners for 6 weeks. It's, again, one of those East Coast games. We're traveling. It's after the high-profile Sunday night game against Dallas. I didn't know we were going to be healthy, and we look really good, and Brock's not had any setbacks, and Shanahan clearly has us coached to a spot where we're not overlooking anyone. If Deshaun doesn't play, we're going to walk away with this game by 20 points. But if Deshaun plays, I don't know that Christian McCaffrey finds much room against this defensive line, and I don't know that Purdy has a lot of time to throw deep. And I think that Cleveland can keep this game really, really close.
It's going to be a lot of passes to Kittle, Ayuk, and Deebo on the slant routes, 10-yard ins, 10 yards outs, 5-yard hitches. That's what you're going to do. Get those short passes in there. I don't think Purdy wants to go deep in this type of game because he's going to need to get the ball out of his hands right away. 3-second drop back throw.
I mean, that's what most of his offense is based on anyways. That's what Kyle likes to do. But I feel like this game's a close slug 'em out. My biggest concern with this game is, can we escape with no injuries, honestly?
Depends what the weather's like. How's the weather like in Cleveland right now?
I've got rain showers likely.
Yeah, rain showers early with overcast skies later in the day. High 56 degrees, winds at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Chance of rain 50%. So it's only going to be a raining game. The night before, it's going to be raining 90%. So it'll be a lot of rain the night before. So if that rain doesn't go away.
Open stadium on grass, 74% chance of precipitation, 17-mile winds coming out in the north with 27-mile-an-hour gusts at kickoff.
Yeah.
This game's going to be ugly. It's going to be in the trenches. It's going to be fought dirty. It's going to be physical between these two defensive lines. I don't like this spot, Al. I don't. I teased the Niners to a pick 'em because they're the San Francisco 49ers. And if you've been making money with the 49ers all season, you might as well keep making money with the 49ers. But if you've not been making money with the 49ers all year and you've not been trusting our picks of the Niners and you think this is the spot to jump in, it's not. I don't think this is the spot to jump in. I don't know how you take the under here either. I mean, it's 37.5, and the Niners have scored over 30 points in every single game this season.
They're counting for the rain is the key issue here. And obviously Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson gets clear to play and is a starting quarterback, this line probably goes like 38.5, 39, moves up to, because now you have a little more offensive potential.
Yeah.
Dorian Thompson, if Dorian Thompson is a quarterback, this is going to be a Niners 20-31-0 victory. I don't see the Browns scoring.
Me either.
So that's why another thing too is their odds makers are trying to figure out if Deshaun's playing, so they don't want to have the number too high and also don't have it too low. So I think 37.5 is a good number.
So do you think Deshaun's playing?
He didn't practice today, so he didn't do. I know it's only Tuesday. But I think come Wednesday and Thursday, if he does a full participant, he plays. And, of course, the line's going to move when that happens. But it's just too hard to tell right now. I just don't know. It's a game I just don't know I want to bet it. I think there's other spots to bet on other games than this one. So this is not a game it's not a game I touch right now or don't want to touch at all. Just, let it go. And then if Deshaun does play, if the line drops, then – maybe tease the Browns.
Well, I mean, so here's the issue. If Deshaun Watson doesn't play this football game, this line goes to 7.5.
Even 8.
Then it's unplayable. It's unplayable at that point. In the rain, with that defensive line, in that weather for an East Coast 10 a.m. game, it's unplayable to over a touchdown. I don't care who the quarterback is.
Yeah.
So I've already bet the Niners -5. I got it -4.5 on Sunday night. I got it -5, and I hit it at 5.5 today. And I've gotten the teaser pick'ems because if Deshaun doesn't play, it's free money. But the problem is, if Deshaun plays, it's a real problem because with Deshaun Watson in this lineup, I think the 49ers may just outright lose. So I am basically gambling on the fact that Deshaun Watson is not in this football game. I don't think he's healthy.
Day to day, Tuesday bruise, rotator cuff, right thumb, shoulder, turn. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah. So I don't know. How do you feel about Niners tease to a pick'em?
Honestly, it's a game for me personally. I'm not touching.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to touch this game. I can't touch this game at all.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, let's go to a game I know you can touch. A game that you want to touch. A game that you've been talking about all day. A game that, quite frankly, I'm just going to let you take the lead on. Why don't you tell me where you are when the New Orleans Saints go to Houston to take on the new golden boy of the NFL, C.J. Stroud, and the Houston Texans, in a game that right now, New Orleans is favored by 1.5. Everywhere I look, -1.5.
I love Houston a lot in this spot. Well, I think C.J. Stroud is a great quarterback. It's definitely going to be Rookie of the Year. I thought AR5 would have been Rookie of the Year, but AR5 is obviously in reserve. So I think C.J. Stroud's going to walk away with this Rookie of the Year win. No one expects the Texans to be, 2-3 5 weeks. They don't have to be 0-5. Let's stick with the Panthers. Everyone expected the rookie quarterback like that to be 0-5, like Bryce Young is with the Panthers. The fact that he's in 5 games throwing no picks, that's absolutely phenomenal for a rookie quarterback. Freaking phenomenal. Some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time have not gone 5 games without any picks thrown. So that just shows you what the upside is in Stroud. They're at home. Yes, the Saints have a great defense. My play in this game, honestly, is take Houston on a tease plus 7.5 to the under 49.5. That is my play. This game is not going to go over 450 points. It's going to be a tight-knit game. It's going to be similar to the Atlanta-Houston game. It's going to be a lot of field goals in this game, I believe. So I would go definitely Houston on a tease to the under. That's my play on this game.
So, speaking of C.J. Stroud and just not throwing picks, you're aware that in Week 5 against Atlanta, he set the NFL record for starting his career with 177 pass attempts without an interception, right?
I did not know that. That makes sense, though.
So that record was Dak Prescott's record, which is hilarious because ever since Dak set the record, he's done nothing but throw interceptions. He broke Tom Brady's record of 162 passing attempts without an interception. So C.J. Stroud now owns that record, not throwing a pick for 177 passing attempts to start a career. This kid is absolutely money. He's got ice in his veins. If you saw that drive he put up against Atlanta in that game last week where he marched them right down the field, it's not his fault the defense got right in the way for Atlanta to march right back. He did his job absolutely in that game. I got problems with this game, Al. I've got the Texans teased to plus 7.5, and I like anyone against the Saints with more than a touchdown for the most part because I don't trust the Saints offense, and I don't care what they did to Bill Belichick last week without Gonzalez, without all of their players. I don't care what they did, right? Belichick's missing his 3 best defensive players, and they got Mac Jones. So I don't care what you did to the Patriots because they're the Patriots. I don't trust Derek Carr. I don't know that Derek Carr's healthy. I don't know that even when Derek Carr's healthy, he looks anything like Derek Carr. Every year I think this guy is going to be the guy, and every year he's not. You get him more and more weapons. The Raiders went and got him Devontae Adams. He still didn't look that much better. Now you get him Olave, Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara, and he still doesn't look that much better. Something's wrong with this kid's ceiling. He can't seem to break through it. Maybe this is all we get out of him. I don't know. But C.J. Stroud is the real deal. My problem with this game is the Saints have a real veteran defense, and every single week that C.J. Stroud plays quarterback in this league, more and more tape comes out about how to beat C.J. Stroud. Dennis Allen may be a lot of things, but he can coach a defense. And they're going to be scoring this tape and figuring this out. And I like the under 48.5 on a tease. I like Houston plus 7.5. But I do not think that C.J. Stroud has an all-world game this week. I just think the Saints fail to capitalize because the Saints just aren't that good.
C.J. Stroud will throw his first pick of the season this week. I think Tank Stevens is that good.
Yeah.
I think this may be a field game. If you are a prop better, bet the over 3.5 on the field goals for the game. And bet first score field goal.
All right, let's go to a game that I know you don't want to talk about. Let's go to Jacksonville. Well, your Indianapolis Colts have to go do something that, quite frankly, they don't know how to do. Win a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Florida.
Yikes.
Jacksonville minus 4.5 at 3 of the books I could see, -4 at the other 4. Line open at 4.5. Over under 46. No AR5. How do you feel about Gardner Minshew's chances?
I don't like it. I don't like us playing in Jacksonville. We just don't do well historically there. I know Minshew Mania is going back to where he, started in Jacksonville. You saw how that short time he played in at home against Jacksonville, he just couldn't do anything against them. I just don't see us keeping this a tight game. I think we do lose this game outright. And that's me as a Colts fan. I want to see the Colts win, but as a bettor, I can't do it. I just can't bet the Colts here at all in this game. I'm definitely going to watch the game, enjoy it, and root for my Colts as much as possible. But it's a game I'm just not going to bet. I don't want to bet revenge against my team. But if you're a sports bettor, bet Jacksonville.
I can't disagree with you more. I can't. And I get it. You're the Colts guy, and you've got all the historical data, and you are scarred by this matchup. I understand. But the fact is, teams coming back from London with that hangover never win by over a field goal. They don't. They've had 2 weeks in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They're all out of sorts. They're on a big high after beating Buffalo. They're now going to come home to a huge letdown spot. And the fact of the matter is, I can't really name anything the Colts do well. But I can't name anything they don't do well. They're a good football team. They play hard-nosed defense. They tackle well. They catch the ball well. They don't turn the ball over.
Travis, you said they are a good football team. Let me record that. Let me get that on recording. Go ahead. Say it again.
The Colts are a good football team. They play fundamentally good football.
We're on chat. If you say the Colts suck, I'm going to fucking replay that video.
Play fundamentally sound football.
Yeah.
They're much better coached, much more disciplined, much more ready to go from a game plan perspective every week than the Jacksonville Jaguars are. And I actually trust Minshew with the ball more than I trust Trevor Lawrence. I trust Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor more than I trust Travis Etienne. I trust the Colts defense to tackle better than the Jaguars do. Trevor Lawrence still had 2 fumbles in his own territory last week against Buffalo. He still looks like crap.
He does. He does look like crap. That is good.
I'm all over the Colts here, man. I like the Colts teased to 10.5. I like the Colts at 4.5. I locked it in. Colts.
Yeah, my line already moved to 4. I know that. So
if you can get into 4.5, get it. 4 is not that much different. I get it there too. I don't like Jacksonville more than the field goal here. I don't. It's too many points. Don't be scared. Just because you got that horseshoe tattooed on your fucking leg and you're nervous about it because they always let you down. Don't be scared.
Gotta be scared. Just don't trust it. Don't trust it whatsoever.
Well, I can tell you who does trust it. No one. 61% of the money and 55% of the bets are currently on Jacksonville. But I trust it. Me at the Printing Money Podcast. Okay, where winners are made. I trust it.
Yeah, I'd be a big winner last night if my contact told me to bet everything else on Niners, but he didn't tell me he was confident, so I didn't bet the Niners.
It's not my fault that you were stuck so much going into that game. It's not my fault.
All you do is get me out of the hole, and all I asked was...
You know what's crazy is look how good of a job we did on the Printing Money Podcast last week. Literally, look how good our picks were. And then you had to go bet a whole bunch of shit we didn't talk about, okay? So this is not on me. This is on you.
Correct, but I needed you to get me out of my mistakes, and you didn't help me.
I mean, I still bet the Niners first quarter, the Niners first half, and the Niners for the game. What else was I supposed to do?
Say bet the house. I have faith. Not say,
I'm never going to tell someone to bet the house because that's really bad sports betting. Should never be betting the house.
I should have bet the house on the Raiders. So I should have done.
Now you want to bet the house on the Las Vegas. I'm going to need a new co-host next week. I need someone that actually knows something about football. I'm not comfortable betting my Knights jersey on the Raiders, okay? I'm not.
Well, if I know Jordan Love was going to be that bad, I would have.
Well, I mean, I've been telling you for weeks I have no love for Jordan Love. So, I mean, he's just not that. Are you ready to admit it? He's just not that good.
I need a couple more games to make that evaluation.
Yeah, you try and tell me it was because of his offensive line. How'd that go for you?
Offense sucks.
Ninth best offensive line in the NFL.
8th. It's okay.
I'm giving you credit because one website had him ranked 9th. Of the
Okay.
4 sites I pulled data from, they were ranked 8th on 3 of them and 9th on 1. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and call them the 9th best. You still want to blame them?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, those were up-to-date stats based on the line they've been playing with this year, so that accounts for Bakhtiari not being there. Just so you know. What is going on?
You just froze.
I think I froze. I think you had a heart attack because you realized Jordan Love sucks. You're just probably dying. All right. Let's swing over to my other lock it in. My last lock it in the week were the Miami Dolphins and their all-world best ever in the history of the NFL offense goes to smash Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers in sunny Miami, Florida. Minus 13.5 is the line, and I just don't care. I already laid it. How do you feel?
Please, right now, guys, if you're watching this podcast, please jump on your computer, bet Dolphins 13.5. They're going to crush this Panthers team by at least 3-4 touchdowns. This is one of my big locks of the week, and I think the Dolphins actually annihilate the Panthers. I see no chance. Bet the Dolphins across the board. First quarter, first half, game. Get it done now. Don't let that line go to 14.5. Don't let it go to 15. Get it where you get the 2-touchdown cushion, and you can feel great when they're up by 2 touchdowns. Like, okay, it's great, and they scored a 3rd touchdown. You still have that extra cushion just to make sure. Get it now, 13.5.
Yeah, you have to get this game at 13.5. You can't take it at 14.5. It's just too bad of a bet. There's too much of a chance of Tua throwing a pick 6 like last week, or Bryce Young getting a garbage time touchdown, or somebody getting hurt. So you have to get in under 2 touchdowns. But 13.5 is just way too good of a number. The differential of losses for the Carolina Panthers through 5 weeks of football is 53 points they've been outscored by. 53 points. Now, one of those games that was against the Saints, who don't score points. One of those games was against Atlanta, who doesn't score points. One of those games was against Seattle, and it was actually a closer game than people remember. They lost by 24 last week to Detroit in a game that they scored 24 points. If you don't think Miami's offense is better than Detroit's without Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're not watching football. They are
Correct.
the best offense in the history of the NFL. They broke the record for the most points scored in 5 weeks. They broke the record for the most passing yards in 5 weeks. Tyreek Hill leads the NFL by 300 yards in receiving. They have 2 of the top 5 ranked running backs in the league. I don't care that A-Chain's not playing because Jeff Wilson will just do the same thing.
Correct.
The Miami Dolphins are an all-world offense unless they go and run into a buzzsaw like the Buffalo Bills in a division game. As long as they're playing bad teams, they're the exact opposite of Patrick Mahomes. They'll beat bad teams by 30. And McDaniels doesn't like to let off the gas. Now, I get he kind of did that last week. He let off the gas a little bit. They were up 18. They were just kind of comfortable punting and hanging out. But do you remember what he did at Denver?
Yeah.
He coaches this team like a college team. We are going to crush you in point differential. That's the way he likes to play. And Bryce Young, I'm sorry, this is going to sound harsh. He's a nice kid. Nice young man. He's a bust. He's a bust. He's too small to play in the NFL. He absolutely should not have been picked ahead of C.J. Stroud. Frank Reich came out this week and said that the owner picked him. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't see it.
He literally said all the coaching staff wanted C.J. Stroud.
And why did they go Bryce Young?
Because the owner wanted them.
Owner wanted. Got it.
Because Jerry Jones made his way down to Carolina. So that's why.
I wanted C.J. Stroud as a Colts fan. I really thought we'd get C.J. Stroud. I really thought, especially when I heard the crazy news that the Panthers were taking Will Levis, and I was like, what? Dude, they go Will Levis. Oh, we're going to give to C.J. Stroud because we all know that Houston's going to go with Bryce Young. But of course that didn't happen, and we made AR5, and we got a quarterback that's made of glass, and I don't think he'll be in the league much longer.
But I mean, if you think that AR5's made of glass, then what do you think of Bryce Young? One of the smallest professional quarterbacks ever. He can't see over the defense. He can't take hits from anyone. The kid plays out there like it's hide and go seek, and he's scared to death of getting caught.
Yeah, I don't like Bryce Young at all. A little bit. I think he is not a good quarterback whatsoever.
There's no point of teasing anything to 7.5. You're just betting 13.5 straight up. put a few units on it and watch the fireworks. They'll probably have 14 in the first quarter, and they'll never look back.
I don't know. I put 7 units on it, just so you know.
7 units.
Yeah, my units are $100 each, so I put 7 units on the Dolphins for 13.5.
It's good to
That's
know. By this time next week, when the podcast rolls out, we won't be able to find Big Al. He'll be running from his bookie, trying to figure out how Bryce Young beat the Dolphins. But it's okay, buddy, because I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm all over him. So,
yeah.
Oh, God, this game sucks. Oh. All right.
Oh, well, talking about Raging Raiders. Can we just skip that game?
Hey, look, the Raiders are staying in Las Vegas, okay? With Josh McDaniels, who I'm still convinced is a terrible coach, meets his mentor, Bill Belichick, who doesn't have a team to coach. So
this game's obvious. Bill Belichick doesn't lose to his former coaches, his former assistant coaches. Belichick's going to win this game. Patriots are going to upset. I know I'm calling craziness, but this is a game where I'm betting on the coach, not the team. I think Bill Belichick will easily out-coach Josh McDaniels this game. And Jimmy G is going to lose to his former team because Belichick knows how Jimmy G plays.
No Matthew Judon. No Christian Gonzalez.
Don't care. This game is going to be
blown out by Derek Carr at home.
Don't care. It's going to change. Patriots are due for a win. They're going to win this game 9-6. Final score.
So you like the under 41 is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay. I also like the under 41. I don't think either one of these teams can score points. I think Mac Jones is atrocious. That man is an atrocious football player. He should not be a starting quarterback in the NFL. It's really, really bad at this point.
I'm hoping, not seeing what's going to happen, but I'm going to have my fingers crossed and hope. Game's 24-10, and Mac Jones throws 3 touchdowns, no picks, throws for 350 yards. I'm going to sell all my cards and be like, gotcha, sucker.
Can I have whatever the hell you're on right now? Because if you think that the Patriots stat line is going to be that good ever with this kid at quarterback, you're delusional.
It's called hope.
It's like you drank ayahuasca before the show started. I mean, you're literally losing it right now. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to take the Patriots to +9 because it's the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to take the under because it's the Las Vegas Raiders and Mac Jones. I hate this game. I don't want to watch this game. I'm not interested in this game. There's hardly any good players in this game. No offense to Devontae Adams, Max Crosby. I'm sorry. It's bad football. It's not good TV. Mac Jones is terrible. Josh McDaniels is worse. This sucks. I'm not locking this in. I'm not even telling you have to do it. This is one of those spots where if you're going to give me this many points, I'm going to take it. Yeah. But I'm blindly pressing the number, and I'm not happy about it. I don't want anything to do with this shit show. Let's go to a shit show I do want something to do with it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers off a bye week at home, hosting the Detroit Lions. -3 Detroit. How do you feel?
Whew. Detroit has been playing really good ball, but so has Baker Mayfield. And they're coming up a bye. Mike Evans should be healthy and ready to go. From what I've heard, he is looking good so far at the warm-ups today. They didn't do much. They didn't practice it at all, but they are going to practice in full by Thursday. He should be limited tomorrow, but I think he'll be in full by Thursday. Godwin's going to look good. Everyone else is great on the Buccaneers side of things. I do like the Bucs a lot on a tease. I think the 9 points at home is a good number, but it's a game that anyone could really win. I just don't know who. But I think your safe bet is going on a tease with this one and taking the Bucs +9.
So going back to the last game really quick, I forgot to mention this. 94% of the money is on the Las Vegas Raiders for this weekend.
Oh,
94%.
Great. Perfect. Patriots and +9 on a tease.
So, and the spread is actually at +3.5 in a few places, which I don't hate either. But anyways, on the contrary, 72% of the money and 76% of the bets are on the Detroit Lions this week. I don't like it. I'm with you. Here's the deal. I think this is somewhat of a letdown spot for Detroit. I think Tampa Bay has been better all year than people want to give them credit for, including me. I should be the first to say I did not give Tampa Bay any credit for the first 3 weeks of the season. I didn't. So I should, and I don't give him any credit because I don't trust Baker Mayfield. Who would? It's Baker Mayfield. But you know what? You got to give the kid credit. He's a lot better than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be healthy here. It's not a dome. Jared Goff is great in domes. If this game's in Detroit, I'd take Detroit by a touchdown. In Tampa, I don't love this spot. I'm going to wait and see if I can get it to 2.5. I think I love it at 2.5.
Like a lot of
I'm out on this game. I'm not even taking Tampa +9. I'm just out on this game. This is not the one. Let's go to the Los Angeles Rams hosting the Arizona Cardinals. 75% of the money on the Rams, 67% of the bets. Line -6.5 with an over-under that is currently sitting at 46. I don't know, bud. Sorry, 48. It opened at 46. The over-under sitting at 48.5. How do you feel about this one?
Whew. I don't know. That's a good one. It's a game the Rams should win. I think hands down, money line Rams. Of course, there's gonna be a lot of high juice, of course. So obviously, would parlay the money line with some other teams. It's a division game. It's really tough game for me to predict. I just don't know. Even on a tease, you take Arizona +13. They just lost by 14 to Cincinnati. And that was in Arizona. So it's like I don't know here. This is a tough one. This really is a tough one.
I can tell you this. The Vegas books have been spot on Arizona all year. They know exactly where to make these lines tough. This is a team that they have the read on. I think they're missing their read on a few teams. I don't think their read is good enough on the Giants. I think these spreads should be higher. I don't think their read is good on the Colts. I think they're giving them too many points. I think they keep making Vrabel too good of a home dog. But when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals, they are spot on. And I like this as a tease to -1 for the Rams. I've already hit it. I like this as my survivor pick of the week. You're not going to find a better spot to use the Rams here. They should never lose at home to the Cardinals. Just ever. And I like this on a 5-team money line that I put. But as far as a spread, keep your touchdown in the division game. I don't have that much faith in the Rams.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Rams all the way.
And 48 is a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to tease under 54.5 is probably a better spot on a tease.
Yeah, I don't hate that except for how many of Arizona's games score points.
Yeah, but Arizona is facing they're on the road playing against a tough defense. Rams have a good defense, and they held the Eagles at 23 points, and that's pretty hard to do. So
yeah, they also held the Bengals, although that was more Joe Burrow holding himself. They held Seattle to 7 week 1. They played the Niners very tough, as you remember.
Yep. I think this is definitely going to be a Rams victory, and I think the under 54 is the best play on a tease. I mean, that's actually a good team, 2-teamer. I take Rams -1. Same game tease. Rams -1 to under 54.5.
Got it. Let's move to New York, where the Jets host the Philadelphia undefeated Eagles. I have no idea how they keep winning games. They just don't look that good to me. I continue to say it over and over again. But you know what? Winning's winning. Line open at -6. Currently at -7 everywhere. Who do you like here? The Birds or the Jets?
I don't see Zach Wilson playing that as good as he did against the Broncos as he does against the Eagles. I think he struggles.
I mean, look how good he played against the Chiefs.
He did. He did look pretty good against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs were just not prepared for this game. I think Nick Sirianni isn't prepared for this game. I don't see the Eagles losing this game, and I don't see Zach Wilson having a good game against the Eagles defense. I think the Eagles defense is a better defense than the Chiefs. I would probably go ride the Eagles here. Fly, Eagle, fly. I like the -7.
So next week, the Philadelphia Eagles host the Miami Dolphins. And you still don't think that Sirianni's team overlooks this game?
No. I think Sirianni's a great head coach. I mean, I liked him when he was with the Colts, too. I was really upset when we lost him as a coordinator with the Colts. I think he's a phenomenal coach. And I think he gets his team prepared to win this game and then focuses on Miami afterwards. He's not looking next week. He's looking at right now the Jets. And I think the Eagles come out in this game and win by 10.
So the Eagles are like the Niners to me. I can't not take them to win a game right now. until they show me otherwise. So
Correct.
my favorite bet of the week is a 3-team teaser of the San Francisco 49ers, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Philadelphia Eagles, all at pick'ems or -1. All those teams should just win quite easily. It is what it is.
I have that same teaser. I have the Eagles -1, Rams -1, and Niners as a pick 'em. I did take that teaser. I didn't put a lot. I think I put like 2.5 units on it, so I bet on that.
Yeah, to me, it's just until they're going to prove to me that I'm wrong, that's what we're doing. Now, that being said, if you held a gun to my head and made me pick the spread in this game, I want the Jets +7. I don't think the Jets defense at home loses to anybody by more than a touchdown. I think the Jets defense is real. I watched what they did to Josh Allen. I watched what they did to Patrick Mahomes and had him play his worst game ever statistically. I watched them cause 3 fumbles last week against Denver on the road. I like the Jets a lot, and this is not the same Philadelphia Eagles team. I'm going to keep saying that until the freaking cows come home. I know they win, and they're going to keep winning. And I know that everyone in the whole world has them ranked the number 2 team in the NFL. I'm not saying they shouldn't be. They're just not as good as last year. They're not. They're not as offensively crisp. They don't run the ball as well. They don't get in as good a spots they used to. Jalen Hurts doesn't look nearly as crisp as last year. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith seem frustrated out there. I'm telling you, I think Breece Hall can dagger this team a little bit. I think they keep this game close. I think 1 or 2 things goes wrong for Philly. Pick 6, fumble here, special teams touchdown. We might be in some trouble.
Let's see.
The Jets need some things to break their way, but if they do, we might be in some trouble in this football game. We've got the Buffalo Bills playing host to the New York Football Giants on Sunday Night Football. The game opened at 15. The line's currently at 14 everywhere that you can find it, and 14 is not enough. 85% of the money and 80% of the bets are still on the Buffalo Bills at home. No one, and I mean no one, in the entire country thinks the New York Football Giants are an NFL football team.
Yeah, I actually teased this game with the Dolphins. I took the Buffalo Bills -8, the Dolphins -7.5, and I did a 3-team. I have the Bears 8.5 with no, I don't. I have Bills, Dolphins, and Rams. Sorry, Bills, Dolphins, and Rams. Excuse me. Yeah, Bills, Dolphins, Rams is my teaser in this play. So
yeah, I'm not touching this game. I don't like teasing to 8. I don't like teasing to over a touchdown still. Not in the NFL. I do it in college all the time, but not in the NFL. I don't like 14. If it ever gets to 13.5, I love it. I don't like 14. And to me, this is just a game where I live bet. And I just hope. I just do this. I just do one of these, Al. And I go, come on, New York. You can do it. Score first. Please. Please score first. And the Giants come out and they score a touchdown, and then I literally take everything I'm up for the day and I bet on the Bills. Like immediately. That's the only way that you're getting my money in this game. The line's just too big. There's nothing that makes sense. And if the Bills' defense was healthy, you got me there. But I don't know how bad they're going to look. It's too many injuries to give up 14 points. That being said, Josh Allen blows out bad teams. Blows them out.
He does. He really does blow them out.
So, I don't hate it. If you're going to take it because you want money on every game, take the Bills. No one's betting the Giants. Don't ever do that. I'm not going to take it. I think there's better spots.
Yeah,
Monday Night Football. The Chargers hosting the Dallas Cowboys, fresh off their Weedham boys loss to the Niners. Yeah. I don't know. Austin Eckler's back. Bye week. Dak's still reeling from throwing 3 picks last week. How do you feel about this game?
Bet the over before it goes up any more. Take it.
Yeah.
And open
Yeah.
that.
Call to action. Call to action right now, 100%. I've been betting the over since Sunday night when it opened at 49.5. This game is going over. The Chargers allow over 28 points in 80% of their football games. They allow over 28 points.
It was over 47.5 last week. Remember we talked about on the last podcast,
Yep.
last show, and I said I did a teaser for the future next week, and I had the over 41.5 and on a tease. And I wish I bet it straight at 47.5. I really wish I did.
It's 49.5 right now. Was the open, and I've gotten it 51 or 50.5 almost everywhere.
So I'm curious how you do the open because the prior week it was 47.5. So how is it that it opened at 49.5?
Well, so the look-ahead line's never going to count as the open. The open is the official post that they're going to put out when the game is posted, which would have been after Sunday night after Dallas lost to Frisco.
Got it. That's how it works. Okay.
Yeah. So you'll have books where you can get the look-ahead line, and if you can get those, great. But the actual open on Sunday for next week was 49.5.
Yeah, definitely get the over 50.5. I like the over. This game's going to be definitely over 25 points by each team easily.
Easily. That not to mention, I like the Chargers plus 8.5. I just do. Justin Herbert plays well against in primetime games off a bye week. Austin Eckler back, and you can call this a bounce back spot for the Cowboys. I don't think so. I think it's a hangover spot for the Cowboys. They got beat so bad by San Francisco on Sunday that I think it lingers in this game.
Yeah, my books have it at 1.5 on both books.
So I never do this, but I'll tell you this right now. You can get it on FanDuel at minus 2.5 right now. Dallas. You can get it 2 at a bunch of other books, all public, bunch of other books. The only book I see it at 1.5 is a book that not a lot of people use. So you can still get 2.5. You just got to shop around. If you can tease this to 8.5, I love the Chargers in this football game. I think there's a very good chance the Chargers just win this game, but I can never bet on the Chargers to win a football game as long as Brandon Staley is their fucking head coach. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I will never do it. Ever. You are the worst, Brandon. You suck, Brandon. Okay? Man, I think this is a hangover for Dallas. I do. I think they're reeling. I think they could say whatever they want. Micah Parsons can come out and say whatever stupid crap he wants about how he thinks the Niners and the Cowboys are the same level of playoff team. Did you see this quote?
No, I didn't see it.
He came out and said, a couple things went wrong last night. The game was much closer than the score would indicate, but we're the same caliber of team. Really? What game did you fucking play in?
Wow.
Come on, bud. I like Micah Parsons. He's one of the only Dallas Cowboys I like. He's delusional. He's absolutely delusional if he thinks those football teams were evenly matched. I think the Chargers have more talent than the Cowboys, and I think they had a bye week, and I think they get Eckler back, and I think McCarthy is every bit as bad as Brandon Staley, and I like the Chargers here. I just do. I don't like Dallas. What about you?
I like the Chargers. I really do. I like the Chargers a lot on the money line to win this game outright. They come up a bye week. The Cowboys are going to have a big letdown in Frisco, and they feel, okay, catch them at the lower now. I just, you know what, Chargers first half, because the Chargers suck in the fourth quarter. So take them the first half.
It's not a bad bet. 60% of the money right now, 43% of the bets on Dallas. So the pros like Dallas. I just don't care.
Let the pros lose because they're down. They're going to lose.
I just don't care. And quite frankly, the public's been winning more than the pros this year anyway. 62% of the games have been won by the public.
Yeah,
the most money has been won by the public in the NFL this year since 2005. In terms of tickets cashed, right? Because majority of the tickets are public tickets. So in terms of percentage of tickets cashed. So let's look at some look-ahead lines, see if there's anything we like for next week. We've got Tampa Bay hosting Atlanta. Tampa Bay minus 2.5. I like Tampa Bay a lot.
Okay.
And I think you should get this line now because the only thing that can happen to this line is Tampa Bay beats Detroit and it goes to 4. Honestly. Yeah. If they get blown out by Detroit, I don't think it moves this line that much. Chicago plus 1.5 in Chicago against the Raiders. Indianapolis plus 2.5 against Cleveland in Indianapolis.
Ooh. Wow, really?
Yeah. The Detroit Lions plus 2.5 against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Go get the Lions now. Baltimore's coming back from London for that game. Go get the Lions now.
Can you remind me on this on tomorrow? I think my look-ahead lines come out Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So
if you could get the Lions at 2.5 for next week against the Ravens, you just slam that all day. Am I missing something here?
No.
Buffalo minus 8.5 against New England in New England. And unless they're getting Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez back, give me Buffalo.
Yeah, no kidding. Jesus.
Seattle at home minus 7 against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I mean, they're giving Seattle the same line they're giving Arizona against the Rams. Give me the Cardinals, I think. Los Angeles Rams at home minus 2.5 against Pittsburgh. Give me the Rams now, please. Thank you. Twice on Sunday. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a bad football team.
Their defense is really good, though.
They're on the road.
Yeah, but LA is filled with Pittsburgh fans. And Pittsburgh travels well.
It's the same thing when the Niners play in SoFi. It's basically a home game for the Niners.
That game is going to be a home game for the Steelers too. I guarantee you there'll be more black and yellow in that crowd than there will be yellow and blue. I can see it right now. We'll just watch it. I think the Steelers will win that game outright. You're gonna see a letdown there.
Kansas City plays the Chargers in Arrowhead -6.
Ooh.
Denver plays host to the Green Bay Packers, and no love for Jordan Love. Denver plus 1.5.
Shootout. We'll hit the over.
46 is the current over. Philadelphia Eagles host the Miami Dolphins. What do you think the line is?
Philly -3.5.
Philly -2.5.
It's close.
I don't know what you do with that.
Over.
Over 53.5. The Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota on Monday Night Football play host to the San Francisco 49ers. Frisco -7.
Frisco -7. That one's going to go to 10.
Lay it now. Minnesota's getting killed, especially if JJ is not back.
No, he's not. He's on IR. He's out for 4 weeks.
Minimum 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, plays on IR today. So is James Conner, by the way, for the Cardinals. James Conner plays on IR today.
I like the Rams a lot this weekend.
Yeah.
So let's give the people a quick rundown of our picks here. We've got Denver and Kansas City this week, Al. We like teasers on both sides, and then we're teasing to the over of 41.5. Tennessee and Baltimore, I'm not touching it. Atlanta and Washington, Al says he likes Atlanta -2.5. I say I like Washington teased to 8.5 because Atlanta doesn't beat anybody by over a touchdown. Chicago, we got Chicago at +3 or tease them to 8.5. Nobody likes Minnesota's side of anything, and absolutely tease the over 38.5 against two historically bad defenses. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals at -2.5 or a tease to Seattle at 9. We like the middle of this game a lot. The San Francisco 49ers tease down to a pick'em because they're the San Francisco 49ers. I also bet it at 5. However, I'm really banking it Deshaun Watson doesn't play. Houston, we got to love the Houston Texans, especially when you can get them over a touchdown at home against the horrible offense of the New Orleans Saints, and I just don't care that they blew out New England last week. We also teased the under in this game, right, Al?
Yep.
48.5. Jacksonville is hosting the Indianapolis Colts, who I like at 10.5 and 4.5 as a lock it in. Al's just scared because Jacksonville always beats his ass. Miami, lay 13.5 on Miami. Don't look back. Carolina probably loses by 30. We like the New England Patriots tease to 9 because they're playing the Raiders. I don't think I really need to elaborate. Press the button, like the number, even though you hate the teams just like I do. We've got Detroit and Tampa Bay, and Al wants you to tease the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to 9. I want to wait and see if I can get Detroit at -2.5, but I doubt it because the public money keeps rolling in on them. I probably avoid a game where I think Goff might be due for a letdown outside of a dome. We've got the Los Angeles Rams playing host to the Arizona Cardinals when James Conner is back on the IR, as Al just said. I really like the Rams here, teased to a pick'em. Don't see a way they can lose. Survivor pick of the week. We've got the New York Jets playing host to the Philadelphia Eagles. I teased Philadelphia down to 1 in another game where I think they just stay unbeaten. That being said, I think there's a lot of value in middling this game. You could probably tease the Jets up as well. The Jets are pretty good at home. Zach Wilson's played better lately. I'm just going to stick with the team that doesn't seem to lose. We've got the Bills. Line open at 15, currently at 14. They're playing the nobody Giants. I'm leaving this game alone. Al's teasing it to 8. I don't have a problem with that. If you're going to bet it, you bet the Bills. I just don't know what to expect out of their riddled with injury defense. Finally, we've got the Chargers on Monday night playing host to the hungover Dallas Cowboys fresh off their ass whooping they got last week in Santa Clara. I think the Chargers are the play here. Herbert plays really well in primetime. Take them with over a touchdown at 8.5. You can still get it in some places. Also, tease to the over. Probably bet the over straight. And I would sprinkle a little bit on the Chargers just in case Brandon Staley finally holds on to one of those leads. Mike McCarthy's pretty bad too, you know.
Yeah. My big plays for the week this week I like on the straight points is I like the Houston Texans on the money line plus 110. I like Miami -13.5. I like the Rams -7. I like the over in the Chargers Cowboys game and the over in the Bears Vikings game. Those are my 5 big bet picks this week. So Let's
There it
make some
is.
money.
We've got the Printing Money Podcast. We had another amazing week last week in pro football. The college stats are going to be there too. It wasn't my best week of college. I've got to be fair. It was one of the best weeks you'll ever have in pro football. We missed one bet. So hopefully we go 4 for 4 on lock-it-ins again. Here we are doing it every single week. Make sure you get involved. Get your money down on these lines. Get them done early. You could find Al over at his Instagram, which is
At Big Al Poker.
at Big Al Poker. You can find me at Printing Money Podcast pretty much anywhere at this point. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Find us, get there. We give all of our plays out on TikTok and Instagram for college football and any live bets on those two streaming platforms. Podcast will be up on YouTube. Twitter will have some small little tweets about things like Dak Cologne. You could buy it now. It's called INT if you never want to score. Other than that, we just print money every week and we have a good time. That's what we're doing now. Hit that like button, subscribe, follow. Make sure you're here for all of our up-to-date information. Feel free to drop me a comment, guys, if you'd like us to cover something. You disagree with one of our takes. You think you know a line that we missed. Drop it in the comments below. We'll be more than happy to jump on and respond. We love talking sports with you. Sports betting isn't just a game. Here at Printing Money, it's an art. We'll see you next week.
Aim for the top like, hold up, yeah, I can never doubt myself, I know better. All of you critics be acting like you know better. Blowing the smoke, but I know when the dust settles that I'm in my element. It's evident that there's levels to the game.